constantly pulled in multiple directions, and many times find themselves questioning,
I think we are having a network issue. Let me just
go through these questions of, why am I not as effective as I want to be, or what was working for me earlier suddenly is not working now. So the type of challenges that leaders face is evolving. Leadership is evolving, right? And I think many times, and I think Swati also alluded to that, to say that it also starts by what sort of a leader am I? What sort of a leader do I want to be? What is the most important part of leadership as a leader that I want to drive in my organization? If I want to drive change, for me is culture very important, is building a very invested, committed set of individuals in my organizations important, is scaling my program important. There are no right or wrong choices. These are choices that each of us make. And I think to kind of break this down, to look at how do we bring about small transformation, small changes in ourselves, which allow us to be better leaders, is what excites me to present the moderator, session facilitator for this section. I have known Bharathi for the better part of 2 decades now. She's a seasoned corporate professional. She's a trained chartered accountant. But very early on, as my first colleague, and my first job, she was my senior. And what I saw very early on then was compassion and empathy. And for someone like me who had just moved cities and I just started my first job, I found her support holding me in a job where I was very unsure of myself and what I was doing. And if one were to fast forward that 2 decades later, Bharti has now gone on to, step into the area of transformation coaching. And I think her mantra is very simple. She says, everybody has something within which can be unlocked. I'm just trying to help people which key to put into that lock and unlock. And she still carries that same level of empathy and compassion, if not more, than what I saw in her 20 years back. So it is with utmost gratitude, Bharti, we're so thankful for you joining us, for doing this. And I hope you have a fantastic conversation. Each of the organizations here, they're here because all these founders here or leaders here chose to do this, to tread a path which is difficult, which is not easy. We all question it, right? There are days when you're fraught with anxiety and challenges, and you think, why am I doing this? And how do you pull yourself? So with that, I hand over not just the floor and the session, but I hand over all our wonderful leaders who are part of our Value Circle program and the trust they place in us. I hand it over to you with all my faith. Thank you, and over to you, Bharti.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vijaya. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, Bharti, we can hear you.
Yeah. So first of all, a lovely introduction. I hope I live up to that. When you put it that way, there is the the anxiety to will it land? because I have not met any of you, my first virtual session. So not quite sure how it's perceived. So I would first of all like to request everybody to switch on their videos if possible. That would allow me to have some sort of a personal connect and look at whoever is speaking. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll just give everybody a minute to switch on their videos. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Just giving everybody the time to switch on the video. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, understand someone is traveling. Appreciate the compulsion. Can the others turn on the video, please? No worries. Some people have network issue, but I think those of you who can, my request is please turn on the video. First of all, like I said, a big thank you to Toolbox for giving me this opportunity to come on this platform and share some of my experiences. I think the way this session will be structured will be very, very interactive. So I hope to hear a lot from each of you, some real stories, some real experiences and challenges that you have that will contribute to the discussion. I think that is the larger purpose of this circle itself. So let's start. But before I start, I just want to talk about a small, narrate a small story for the benefit of everyone present here. And there is a reason why I started the story, because it will come towards the end of the story, just in a minute. So there was this saint living in a village, and he was highly regarded by the villagers. And all the villagers went to him for any sort of solution, any sort of challenges they faced. And they all came away very satisfied because the saint knew exactly the right thing to say, right thing to advise, right thing to do. And he became very popular. Now, some people in the village did not like it. They wanted to, sorry, somebody's saying include Hindi too. I'm just conscious that there are people from Tamil Nadu also here. Is everybody comfortable if I include Hindi? Just a show of hands or something? Or otherwise, our friends from Toolbox can let me know if that is okay.
Yeah, Bharathi, what we can do is that we can have this session in English, and then for the larger portion of it, you can summarize it in Hindi as well.
Okay. I'll try. My Hindi is rusty, but I'll try. So there was, like I said, there were some people in the village who did not like the saint. They felt, how can one person know everything? Absolutely impossible, and they did not believe that. So they wanted to prove the saint wrong. So one of the boys said, I have an idea. I'm going to catch a butterfly, hold it behind my back in my hands, and ask the saint, what am I holding in my hands? So if the saint says it's a butterfly, then I'm going to say, you are wrong, because I will then show him my empty hands, because I would have opened my hands and allowed the butterfly to fly away. But if the saint says, you don't have anything in your hands, then too, I'm going to say you are wrong, because I'm going to hold the butterfly tight and then show him that I have a butterfly in my hands. So his intention was to prove to the world that he does not know everything. So that was a good idea. His friends, all of them appreciated it. So he caught a butterfly and held it behind in his hands and went to the saint and asked, so what am I holding in my hands? So the saint just smiled and told him that the answer is in your hands. Now, you see, the reason behind the story is just to say that no matter where we are in our life, now we are attending this session, tomorrow we will be in a meeting, and day after tomorrow we'll be in the field doing work with whoever that is that we want to work with in the society. But no matter where we are, it's always in our hands to make the most of it. So if we are in this session with a very distracted mind, with a mind that is not fully paying attention, what we derive may also be a bit distracted and not very fruitful. Every step in our life, if we pay attention and be fully present, then what we derive will also be 100%. जब हम किसी भी स्थिति में अपना पूरा अटेंशन डालते हैं, पूरा दिमाग डालते हैं, तो उस सिचुएशन से जो भी हमको मिलता है वो पूरा ही होता है. तो इस सेशन में भी अगर आप पूर्ण रूप से पार्टिसिपेट करें, तो जो वैल्यू आपको मिलेगा वो भी पूर्ण रूप से मिलेगा. यही थी मेरी पर्पस वो कहानी सुनाने के लिए. Right? So shall we start on that basis? Okay. So first of all, I would like Toolbox to call out about 4 persons in this group who can talk through certain things, which I will give them a bit of a brief about. What I want to do is pick 4 people from this audience and request them to talk about their typical daily river of life. So what do I mean by that? On a typical day, from morning till evening, what's the kind of, you can just start with your work life. What is typically the day like? What are the things you do and what are the challenges you face? And what are the issues you deal with? If you can just describe for the rest of the audience, that will then help me set the context to going to the next conversation. So I would like to first hear from some of you. What are the challenges? What is a day in your life like? So if I can request Toolbox to, pick out about 3 or 4 people, I think would be ideal from this audience, who can give us a little bit of a brief, 2 minutes each should do. That'll be great.
I mean, anyone can actually volunteer as well. We don't want to be calling out names, but if not, then I think Anjana from ECF, Mr. Harish from MAVA, Shannon from FAITH, Mr. Dada Sahib from Gram Urja. If you all can briefly elaborate on what Bharati has requested. If you all are comfortable and you have network, anyone can go first in no particular order.
Hi. Ila spoke about, called out some names. Can say Anjana go first?
Yes. I think I'm struggling with the network, so I'm going to keep my video off. I hope you can hear me
Yes,
properly.
we can hear you. Hi, Anjana. If you
Yes.
can just
Hi,
give a
Bharati.
one-line brief about you, your
Sure,
organization,
sure,
and then start off.
sure. Thank you. It was a wonderful story to hear at the start of this webinar. And thank you, Ela, for calling out my name. I was anyway going to volunteer for this. Uh, yeah, my name is Anjana, and I work with Equal Community Foundation. We work
Pune.
on gender space, yeah, Pune. And so we work with a mission to raise boys to be gender equitable. And so I am leading the organization, but that's a recent leadership transition that has happened. So it's good that I am in this kind of a platform to learn from you all. uh, yeah, so going forward with my routine at work, I think the first 2 hours is when I'm the most productive. So I start my work at 8:30 a.m. and until 10:30 a.m. is where nobody bothers me. I'm sitting with my laptop. That's when I reply to a lot of emails. I make, if there is a report to review and finalize. So though that's the time for me which is best, because post that, honestly, I'm not working. Post that, it's a lot about meetings with different team members for different issues. Uh, so a lot of like 2-3 hours goes in meetings, which at times is productive, at times not. I always, when I reflect back, I feel okay, this could have been productive. I didn't need it to give 1 hour for this. But yeah, that is something that I've learned, and I'm trying to reduce it. But honestly, I have not been able to reduce it much. So I would like to learn from you. That is one challenge that I'm facing. Secondly, I spend some time also on reading about different organizations' work, reading a lot of articles, especially IDR and Feminism India is something that I read a lot.
Um, is it okay? Anjana, I think
Anjana, we're not able to hear you.
yeah, she already mentioned the network issues. Uh,
Anjana?
just write it.
Connecting my work there. Apart
Yeah,
from at least
Anjana.
1 hour or even 1.5 one calling that one, it could be literally some.
Anjana, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
We
Or you
lost
lost
you.
me?
We lost you in between, where you were talking about reading. You said you also do reading, especially IDR.
Yes.
After that, if you can just recap.
Yes, I'm sorry for that technical error. So, yeah,
Mhm.
after that, I would say that a lot of like at least 1.5 hour, I would say, or 1 hour goes in just random calls. It could be calls related to some technical aspects that I have to look at, some finances, bank related calls, or funder related immediate like small calls or something like that. So,
Mhm.
that is some, if I have to literally calculate, around 1.5 hours. And then I do take time to spend at least 1 hour with the team for an informal chat. So we
Mhm.
do a lot of debates, for example, if it's about football which happened, and then the gender issues around that and everything. So recent news, and then talk about human rights, gender related to our topic, but get the recent topics across. So yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, that's what my typical day looks like. But if you ask me how much I'm productive, I'm just productive for 2 hours out of 9 hours that I work.
So, would you say that's your biggest challenge?
Yes, I would. Although I wouldn't completely take it as a failure, because I do feel reading adds a value. I do feel having random discussion adds value. So it is not that it's not adding value, but maybe I could do more, especially when it comes to meetings. I need to learn to kind of, have meetings with proper objectives and outcomes, so that, and in, in a timeline, in a time limit. So I think that is where I face a lot of challenge.
In terms of managing all the things in a day within the time that you have. That's what you
Yes,
say.
yes.
Okay. Anything else which is unique to your field in terms of challenges?
Challenges, of course, I don't think it's unique as such, but I think a lot of us do face HR issues. And as a leader, at times it really is difficult to, look at, because there are issues which directly relates to our guidelines, our protocols, but there are
What do you
issues that
mean
we.
HR issues? You mean finding the right people, or what are you saying?
No, not right people. I mean, finding the right people is a challenge. Recruitment is a challenge, but it could be a day-to-day thing where, there are conflicts. There is somebody who needs to work from home for a genuine reason, but
Okay.
then the other person is saying you allowed them and you didn't allow me, and then, how do you
Okay.
manage those conflicts? That's just a small example, but these kind of examples.
So that is a challenge that is consistent. That's what you're saying. Hello, Anjana? I think we lost her, but thank you. Thank you so much, Anjana. That was a very useful brief you gave us. Gave us a bit of an insight to your regular day. Ila, what was the next name you called out?
Mr. Harish from Mava, if you would like to go next.
Mr. Harish?
Yeah. So,
Can you hear us?
yeah. So,
So if you can give us a one-liner about your organization.
Sure. So I am Harish, based in Mumbai.
Hi.
I'm the co-founder of Men Against Violence and Abuse,
Okay.
MAVA, which is India's first organization of sensitive men wanting to stop violence against women, primarily.
Excellent.
So, yeah. So, I mean, the post-COVID world, howsoever you plan the day's schedule, it is quite filled with last-minute hiccups and, so your plans, I mean, what it was earlier and what now. So, you have to be prepared for different kinds of eventualities. So, and also what happens is, depending upon, we are a short and lean organization. Just 2 staffers in Mumbai, and there are 3 on the project in other states.
Okay.
So, with a 5-man army, full time, there are lots which we have to take care of, and because of the nature of our work and the difficulties in fundraising and, conveying, what you have achieved to a number of people time and again, because there is, one is perseverance in our effort, but, so it, it right now, it's not going as per the plans what you would like to, because you work in a particular ecosystem within your colleagues is one, but at the wider level, there are different responses you get for. So, I'm unable to define it like a daily, activities, because it will differ from day to day. But roughly, it's, my work is largely mentoring a team of people, strategizing programs and plans, fundraising aspects. That is one. Responding to mails and queries. So typically these are the 3-4 things, and there are some programs, which apart from a planner, I'm also an implementer. So it's not just evaluating programs or planning, but because of the nature of our work, at oftentimes I have to be the implementer, the lead implementer,
Understood. So on a daily basis, what would you say are the typical challenges that you face?
So, I, as a person, would like more of a face-to-face interaction, is what I've been liking. But many people prefer online and, ways of
Face-to-face interaction
with my target groups, like suppose the youth, my team members and all. But
okay.
So I understand there are limitations of that, but primarily it is, the dynamics which happen in the field, something which is not in your control.
That is true. But from your perspective, from your individual co-founder perspective on a daily basis, what's your individual professional challenge?
It's a multitasking thing which I have to do with a limited team.
Understood.
So I think that's the
something like prioritization. That's what
yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Thank you so much for your sharing. That was very useful. You gave a very good context of what your organization is doing. Shall we move on to the next in the interest of time? Ila, who's the next person?
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Shani.
Yeah, thank you. Hi Bharti.
Hi Shani.
I'm so sorry. My network is a little off today, so I will not switch on my video. I hope that's okay.
That's okay.
My name is Shannon Donna Masar, and I am from Shillong, Meghalaya. And
nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too. I currently head an organization here, and we work primarily with children and more on, issues of gender and sexual-based violence. And particularly one of the issues that we've been addressing now for the past 9 years has been child sexual abuse. And so we work in schools, we run life skills, personal safety education programs in schools and train teachers, and we've moved into communities as well. How can we prepare communities to take action, basically? So my day actually starts very early. I'm a mother, and so I have like 5-year-old child. So for me, my mornings is more of getting the work done at home, making sure that that my lunch is ready, food is ready. Typically, then by 9 o'clock, I'm at work. And so again, my work, I've been actually multitasking now for the past few months. I've been handling finances, because we have a very new team who's just joined us. So I feel as if it's more of like micro managing, and at the same time also, if I need to go for certain programs, very important programs that I need to conduct, and since I'm the one who is the the senior most at the organization, and so that's something that I've been doing. Apart from that, yes, connecting over calls is something that is very regular, that happens. Connecting to with our donors, or connecting with our other partner organizations. Also at the same time, making sure that every day at least I get some time to sit and speak with my team members, in terms of planning for programs, or looking at day to day, what has to be done, what needs to be done. And I think for the past few months, it's been more of trying to see how I can set systems in place. And and now, because of post COVID and all of these compliances that has come in, trying to really keep up with what is happening. And so I think finance has been something which has been a very major part of that I've been really trying to, focus on. And then, yeah, by 4:35, my day ends at work, and then I go back, home.
So on
Yeah,
a
so
daily
that's how.
basis, from your
Yeah.
individual perspective, right?
Yeah.
What do you see as the core challenges?
I think the core challenge is like managing the team. I feel that's been one of, I think my major, challenge.
Like Anjana said, is it conflict resolution? That's the challenge. Or
It's not really conflict resolution. I feel our team members are, they're good, but I feel that, they're very young. And so a lot of hand holding that has actually come in terms of, and I think the dependency of them being a new team, for every decision that needs to be done, it has to, it comes through me. And one of the other things that I also see that I've been trying to work on is also like, like I say, like, I try to micromanage people because I want things to, to be okay, or programs should be running well. So yeah, so those are the things. Yeah, Bharti, yeah.
Understood. Thank you very much,
Thank
Shalini,
you.
for that brief. Gave us a good insight. Ila, you want to move on to the last speaker?
Yeah. Dada Sahib, if you could go next, if the network is okay. And
yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
yes, we can.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, network is little patchy for me. Can you please repeat the question again? Hello.
No, the question is on I'd like to just hear about, just very briefly in a minute, how your typical day goes, and what are the challenges you face from an individual perspective running this NGO?
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I heard the question correctly. So I just want to confirm.
Okay.
So for me, we are a newly started organization. We started our organization in the year 2020.
Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
My name is Dada Sahib Gaikwad.
Dada Sahib. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
I work in Maharashtra, rural Maharashtra.
Okay.
Organization name is Gram Urja Foundation.
Okay.
Yeah, so we started in the year 2020. We are a very young organization. Previously, we were working as Chief Minister's Rural Development Fellows in the same geographical and demographical space. And based on our experiences, we started this organization in the year 2020.
Okay.
So being a founder or co-founder of a new organization, it's very much busy and unorganized kind of thing as of now. On daily basis, we are working with children from sugarcane cutting laborer families. So on daily basis, I also have to go to a school. We work directly with the government schools. I go to school, teach children there into the school, basically on foundational literacy and numeracy. So that is 3 hours of time. Apart from that, I have a child who is almost 3 years of age. So I also have to carve out some of the time to look after child and some family responsibilities and all those things. Third is about like on daily basis being a very small team and new organization. A new kind of work has to be done. Like in recent days, it was about auditing, accountability and accounts and all those things. On the other hand, we also have a small team who are working on in other schools as such. So also I have to visit other schools, look into their classrooms, what they are doing and all those things. Apart from that, some kind of admin related work comes on everyday basis as we run some other programs as well, like computer literacy program or digital classroom programs and all those things. So also some of the other things comes. And lastly, most importantly, raising funds, trying to get in touch with new people. What I do is I at least send 1 or 2 mails on daily basis to new people so that I can get in touch with them and speak about my organization. So that is another thing. And one more thing is like learning, which is happening on daily basis. Like this time, I'm engaged with Toolbox India, other fundraising workshops, any other kind of workshops, and all those things which can be done on daily basis.
So on a daily basis, from your
Yeah.
individual perspective, what are the key challenges that you face?
Key challenges is to manage all these things, because considering a small team, sometimes it feels key. I'm getting all the kind of stress and tension. I have to raise funds. I have to go to school. I have to look after family and all those things as well. So managing things is one challenge. How I can manage it better.
I mean, in terms of time.
Yeah, in terms of time and priorities.
Priorities. Okay.
Yeah. Another thing is delegation,
Okay.
which is also another challenge for me, because though most of the people in my team are capable enough in implementation, mobilization, and all those things at the grassroots level, but English is required thing, which is again a kind of pain point for us, and they are not much fluent in English. So I have to go for like writing, report writing, draft writing, or proposal writing, and all those things. So that is another thing which is a big hurdle into delegation kind of thing. So, yeah.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
It really was very useful. Thank you all. In the interest of time, I'm just going to keep this with just the four of them. If I were to summarize the key themes that are coming out, it's to do with time management, team conflicts, prioritization. One even mentioned a point on handling young people. I guess this is the big items that are coming out. So as you know, I'm a transformation coach, but prior to becoming a coach, I have about 2 decades of experience working in corporates. But the reason I want to speak a little bit about my background is because then it will become clear to you that I'm speaking from experience with not just large corporates, but startups also. Right at the beginning of my career, although I passed out with a rank, I chose to work in a startup for the purpose of learning merchant banking. Those days, merchant banking was a big fad, and I really wanted to build a career in that. And so I joined that. And the reason I say all this is to say that I have an experience of working in startups, small local companies, as well as large multinationals. My last large experience was Standard Chartered Bank. So, and I also run a trust, charitable trust that is specifically into financing children's education. So, the reason I gave this background is to say that I am speaking with a little bit of practical view of whatever you people spoke about. I feel your problem. I know that this is a regular pain. Now, the reason you're here is to walk away with some new thought or some new suggestion or some new idea that we may speak about. And that's why my first request is to please pay attention. As you know, nothing transformation can happen by just attending one session or one workshop. Yes, it requires consistent practice. So the idea of this session is to, leave you with some aspects that for you to think about and see whether this is possible to do or implement in your organization, and take it from there. For anything to work, right, in our individual development perspective, it is practically like going to the gym. We can't go to the gym and build a body in one day, right? We can't just go for one day and then come and look at the mirror and say, no change. We can't do it even in few days. you have to consistently on a daily basis practice certain things in order to for that to reflect in our organization as a success. So one of the primary things that I want to talk about, and this might be relevant to all the challenges that all of you face, not just the 4 people who spoke, is to create trusting teams. I feel based on what my interaction with organizations, my experience, the fundamental value or the thing that every organization needs to focus on is to form a core team that is trusting and create an environment in the organization that is a safe space for each person in the organization to contribute to their best, personal best. It could be not the best as we define it, but they will, work to their potential together with us and succeed. And the reason I say that is the fundamental need, because no matter how much effort you put in managing time, in managing priorities, in managing conflicts, the minute we do not put our energy in creating that environment, the right work environment of trust or trusting team, then we lost everything, right? So for that to happen, there are some small aspects that I can speak about. Hopefully it will be useful to get everybody to feel the same passion that each of you feel in your day job. That is fundamental. Now, how do we do that? Because first of all, I want to appreciate that finding what the purpose of our life is on a large scale, right? 90% of the people don't. You all, each of you belong to that 10% of the people who actually could say, this is my music and I want to sing it. This is my purpose and I want to pursue it. So that itself is half the job done. So having done that, the most important aspect is to speak about it, right? So for example, if you are in the child sexual abuse aspects, if you are in the children's education aspect, whatever it is that you're doing, right? The important aspect to form a trusting team is not quite in talking about the impact that we need to do on a statistical basis or on a, overall organization purpose basis. So if I say, I want to do this, I want to do that, it may not resonate with them at all. What resonates with people's behavior is stories. So my small presentation or suggestion to you is, when you speak about something that you want your team to act on, try to speak about that from an experience that you had or a story that you have to explain it a little bit further, right? If we talk about sexual abuse in general in terms of statistics in India, or even terrorism in general, about statistics in India, nobody cares. But if you speak about a specific Nirbhaya case and go into the details of what happened, you will find that people are moved to act and to participate in your purpose as much as you are feeling passionate about it. So the primary thing is, try to tell your story or some aspect of your story that will make them feel your purpose as much as you do and feel comfortable to work in that same zone. The second aspect is to provide a safe space in the organization. What do I mean by safe space? Safe space is where an employee can raise her or his hand and say, I don't know how to do what you're asking me to do. So if you've created a work environment where the employee doesn't feel comfortable, or the person who you're working with is not comfortable to speak and say, I don't know, then there's a problem. Or if one person is talking about an issue that she has with another person, or he has with another person, and that issue is causing the organizational purpose to stop, then very often we see that, especially this is true of young people, right? The young people of today, they're not very used to handling any conflict, right? They have had a relatively pampered existence. They come into the corporate life with a high ideal of what is to be done, and they are used to instant gratification, right? They order something in Amazon, they immediately get it. They want to see something, the entertainment is just click of a button. So they're used to getting everything very fast. So they come to you to make a social impact. But social impact cannot be created overnight. They don't get that. They want instant satisfaction of creating that impact. So our job as leaders is to make them realize that it is like going to the gym. You need to have that practice, have that patience. You need to keep at it day after day after day. And when you do that, the impact is created. So it is about creating a safe space where the individuals who are working on it, even the youngsters who are working on it, can make mistakes, and be courageous enough to speak about those mistakes to each other and learn from it. Yes, when there is a consistent mistake, there is an issue. I don't deny. But when there is and I think the whole aspect of what we call as failure itself is an issue, isn't it? So when we plan something in our day and we are not able to achieve that in our day, it's not a failure. It's just something that is bound to happen, because all of us are bound to lose, drop a few balls, lose sight of certain things, not see the obvious. These are all human nature. And when we do that, and when we see that of another person in the organization, no matter how much it bites us, it will help to actually tell them, okay, I hear you, it's fine, let's try it again. And the patience of trying it again has to be there with that individual. And if that individual doesn't have that patience, then we have to make them realize, like I said, we have to build trusting teams or make them realize that every impact takes time. No impact in this. Why talk about you and me? Gandhiji, when he Aurobindo, they all, when they started the freedom movement, they used to go to jail a lot, because the Britishers tried to kill the freedom movement right at the beginning by just jailing everybody. But when they come out of jail after spending 2 years and 3 years and tried to talk about freedom, they have written books where they have said not a single person is there in the audience listening to them. Not a single person. They've had public meetings where nobody turns up. So how do you think they felt? It is tough work. They kept at it. Every day they showed up and they talked about their freedom being a very important part of any country's DNA. And when they kept at it, then finally 1 or 2 turned up, then 10, then 20. It went like that, the story, right? So it is useful to tell the workers, the employees, the associates, the partners, that it is consistent effort and consistent showing up and patience that is going to yield benefits. But when we speak about it, we have to ensure that they are aligned with our overall purpose as much as we are. So these are some of the aspects that I want to leave with you. And I heard about time management, prioritization. I can tell you that when it comes to, it's a very simple suggestion that has worked wonders for me. All I do is at the beginning of the day, and this is what Stephen Covey talked about, big rocks. I don't want to go into a management gyan, but real-time practical tips is every morning when we devote 10-15 minutes of our day, we identify just 2 or 3 big rocks that are absolutely necessary to achieve that day. So that could be spending time with our family. That could be just visiting a particular house. It could be anything in your field of work. Just ensure that you identify what are the 2 or 3 things I want to achieve today without fail, without putting in my best. And if you identify that, then the rest are all small pebbles, right? The famous example of a jug and the pebbles. If you take a jug, and you put small pebbles in it and then try to fit the big rocks, it won't fit. But if we take the same jug and put the big rocks and then try to put the pebbles, they'll fit. The pebbles will get some space. So it does not matter that you have 25 things to do. Everybody has 25 things to do. What matters is, have you sat down and asked yourself, what are the big 2 or 3 things I want to achieve today? If we do that, and we put in our best in those 2 or 3, we should also have the maturity not to get upset when the other 20 things is not so successful. It's okay, because they will become big rocks some other day. But when we go at it step by step, moving out big rocks every day, and we keep chipping, I can tell you miracles happen. You suddenly find yourself getting into a momentum where a lot of things are happening because you are going with the flow. You're not in that mindset of, oh God, I have so much to do, nothing is happening. Someone spoke about delegating, right? Even about delegating, as long as you have trusting teams, it's okay to delegate even if they are not up to your caliber, even if they are not up to your standard, even if they are not as perfect as you, it's okay. Let them do it the way they can. How else will they learn, right? It's like a child walking, right? When a child is walking, it often falls. And when it falls, first of all, no one calls it failure. They call it falling. You fall down, and then the child, no matter how much of hurt it's going to feel, it may cry, everything, but it will still try again, and it will still carry on. And what we do when the child falls down, we try to help it get up, manage. It may sound very idealistic. It is not. When we practice that approach, because you see, every problem that we have running organizations, it is useful to have an internal focus, an internal lens. What can I do differently that can impact, that can change the way others behave? Because ultimately, leadership is about walking the talk. It is about living the exact same things that we expect from others. So if we feel that we don't have time, you will find your team also doesn't have time. They will also constantly tell you, oh, I didn't have time. That is because it's coming from you. The minute you say, okay, these are the 2, 3 big rocks. This is what I'm going to achieve today. The rest, it's okay if I don't have time. You will find your team is also doing the same thing. So very often leaders have to live what they want to see in the external. That's why Gandhi ji said, right? Be the change that you want to see in the world. All that it means is we need to emulate what we think others should also be doing. So that's my 2 bit on all the aspects of challenges that came out. I know that the world is not going to change by just a few techniques, but I would consider this session quite fulfilling if even 1 or 2 pointers that I gave is relevant to you and you take away and do something with it. So on that note, I would like to pause and ask if anybody has any questions before we move to the next point in the agenda. Any comments? Any questions? Shalini, Anjana, Dada sir, any questions? Can you hear me?
Yes, Bharti, yes, we can hear you, but I guess there are no questions.
Yeah, thank you, Bharati. I think there's no question as such now. But while you were speaking, I had another challenge that I do face. But maybe it could be, we can do it later if it takes time. So the other challenge is when we as leaders get demotivated. I think you did talk about it a bit. But when there is a day when it's really down, everything, nothing is going right,
Yeah, yeah,
but you can't show it to the team. You can't
Yeah.
show it to the team that I am, we are losing it, or there are no donors, there are no this and that. So as leaders, I think all of us face it on at some point of time.
Yeah.
And then how do you ensure that you don't pass it on to the team, because we need to keep the team motivated? So yes, that would be
Okay, the simple answer is it's okay to share with your team that it's a bad day. That's my primary two-bit. It's you don't have to all the time maintain a front of this amazing woman who is doing amazing things that you are. And that's why they've joined you. They do recognize that what you're doing is phenomenal and they do want to participate in that journey. But we don't have to be that way every second of our existence. It's okay to say, I don't know why I'm feeling. Sometimes you might find somebody saying something from your team which might cheer you up. So it's okay to share that with the team. That's what I feel first. Secondly, the all-time technique that works for me always is to focus on the bigger picture. It'll always be, okay, what is the bigger picture? Have I got that screwed up? Is that something that I can do the same thing differently? So it's always looking at, okay, today I'm feeling like that. It's okay. I've shared it with my team. It's okay. I'm going to change the tide by just looking at what's the bigger picture, which means, for example, on a particular day when you're feeling upset, it's about saying, what is the bigger rock that I identified that I want to achieve? What is the one thing that I've identified as big rock in the last 5 days, but not done it? Sometimes looking at a bigger purpose for me charges me up. In your case, it could just be taking the day off. It's okay to take the day off when you're feeling low, and tell your team that I'm not all right. I'd like to go. And so this is my two-bit. As you rightly said, there's not too much time to go into too many things, but at a high level, this is my two-bit. I hope that was useful.
yeah. No, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. I think the key aspect of what we wanted to talk about in the next session is failures. I think someone's briefly mentioned it, but the reason I want to talk about it is, and this is very closely aligned to what I think, was it Anjana who spoke now or Shalini? Anjana.
Yeah.
I think Anjana touched upon it briefly right now, but let's talk about failure. What happened recently that you would classify as failure and that kind of brought your mood down? Let's talk a little bit about that, because that's a very, very important aspect that keeps happening in our lives and is always disrupting our path. So if any two of you can speak, I'm just saying two because I'm conscious that the time is running out. I mean, you can raise your hand, and I would prefer if it's two others than the four who's already spoken. So Ila, you want to pick, or people have raised their hands? I don't know.
Now, I think if Mr. Henry could share, and Ashish from Shiksha, you both can go next.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
okay.
I'm Henry.
Yes, Mr. Henry, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I was hearing it as wonderful. I think you expressed from your experience at the leadership level. So it's a good learning for us. So from your sharing, just I want to clarify. See, everybody is human. See, if I come for the day to my office, I also have my own personal problems. But I could not express to my team what is the situation I am today. But I have to manage myself. But in some cases, I realized because of, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. See, I could not express what's the inner problem I'm facing, but at the same time, it reflects sometimes negatively to the staff team unknowingly, irrespective of my conscience. So that's what are some of the things I see. I'm trying to keep myself correct, but I face this challenge in the day-to-day administration. Do you understand?
Sorry, I didn't understand, sir. And it'll be useful if you can talk about some example of some failure that you faced in the last few days.
See, as a CEO, I have to manage my team and I have to monitor the daily ongoing program activities. Okay. But as a human person, if I had for example, I had a problem with my wife at home, and there may be a health issue or an economical issue. So I could not able to compensate at home, but I come with a feeling to my office.
Okay,
I feel
understood.
that I should not express my individual problem to my team. That the team spirit should not get affected. But even all my consciousness, that feeling comes out while in the meeting, and it expresses negatively sometimes.
Okay, understood.
But, yeah,
understood.
That I feel sometimes how to overcome that.
Okay, so what's your name, sir? I didn't
Henry.
Henry. Okay.
Yeah.
And which state or in which state?
I am in Tamil Nadu. I am working for Eastside Trust.
Okay. Thank you so much. Anyone else? I would like to hear about something that you tried, but it did not succeed. Something like that.
Yeah. Hi, this is Ashish here.
Hi, Ashish.
And I work in Chhattisgarh with conflict-affected tribal children.
Oh,
and
nice to meet you.
So I mean, getting people to work with us is a challenge for us because of the geography. And on top of that, in the last 1 year, 8 people in the organization have left the organization, either fired or left. And the reason has been that we have moved on to the next phase of our journey as an organization, which had led to more focus on accountability and deliverables. So earlier we were more into the service seva bhav kind of work. Now we are more into service plus solutions. So there's a sense of accountability and more professionalism, timeliness, and all that stuff. And so, which means there's been although gradual, but a huge cultural change in the organization, and also in terms of the way I have been communicating to the team. Earlier, it was like, okay, I'm there to help you. Now I have been like, okay, you are accountable for that, and there has to be some consequences. So obviously, people have not been able to adapt to that cultural change, and also the change in my responses to any situation. The failure that I see over here has been my lack of assertiveness, of raising the red flags or the green flags at the right time. I mean, I've been more of a mentor to the team members, and so because of that, letting go of the red flags and not speaking at the right time. And when things cross the line, you raise your concern and suddenly things go for a toss. So that has been one thing, and this whole major cultural change has led to 8 people leaving. So that has been a failure. Learned from it, changing my approach towards things in the organization and with people. But yeah, just since
thank you for your honesty. Appreciate it. The reason I just restricted this to just 2 people is for shortage of time. So basically, when we talk about, first I will cover the 2 specific aspects that was talked about, and then we can move on to the larger aspect of failure, right? So first of all, to Henry's point, that as a CEO, and this is very close to what Anjana said too, that we have our moods, and when we can't display it, her point was when we can't display it, there's a problem. And his point, Henry's point was, if I display it, there is a problem because I'm going to be not in a great mood. So it is a very real problem that all of us face. It's not just in NPOs. Even if I'm not working and I'm at home, same situation. I may have something going on with my daughter versus something going on with my trust versus something going on with my organization. So if we are talking about humans, individuals, we cannot compartmentalize our behavior in one place will be different. Our mood in one place will be different, and in one place will be very different. We are a whole person. Our essential behaviors, moods is going to spill over from one to another. And we are, especially this group, is especially a group of people where work is very personal. It's not like something that you do just for money. It is not that. It is the purpose of your life. It is the reason you exist. So when something is so personal, you cannot segregate home and office because for you, it's a natural fluid flow. So the fundamental thing is to look inwards. It's never about the situation outside, right? Looking inwards means always being aware and trying to, to give an example, right? When we take a glass of water and hold it in our hand, right? If that glass weighs 200 grams, if we were to hold it for an hour, it's okay, we can. But if I were to hold it for one day, then I get a pain in my hand starts becoming numb. And then if I were to hold it in our hand for 1 week, then it's either the hand or the glass, right? So to save myself the pain at any point of time, what do I have to do? I should just put the glass down, correct? Nobody asked me to take the glass and hold it. So it is the same thing with our mental state. Yes, we are very much human where external situation causes stress. Even our regular life, even if water doesn't come in the tap in the morning, it causes stress. Even if we have an argument with our husband or wife, it causes stress. Everything causes stress. But when we carry that stress like this glass of water throughout the day, then our behaviors, everything gets impacted. And at the end of the day, it causes pain, not only to us, it causes pain to those who are around us. So the simple way to manage any bad emotion that is there in our head is to just leave it aside and focus on what is happening currently. Now, that is not easy. Though it is very easy to speak all this, it is not easy to practically do it, I know. But we've got to try. You know, Ed Milet spoke about regulating the temperature. So when, I'm sorry, I forgot to speak in Hindi, apologize. When we I'll try from now on at least, when we face an environment where our surroundings is very hot during summer season, we switch on the AC, put on the fan. If we don't have any money, we just pour water on the ground so that the whole temperature will cool, isn't it? Similarly, when we live in an environment which is very cold, we try to light a fire or, you know, switch on the heater, something to regulate. So when we come to our physical body, we always try to regulate the temperature to a bearable level, right? Where we are not too cold, not too hot, we keep it regulated in one particular temperature. Same is the case with our internal temperature, internal mood and tension and stress and anxiety. Yes, we are human. Whatever happens around us impacts us. But can we control how much that impacts us? We can try. Why? Why should we try? Because only when we regulate the mood and anxiety inside us, when we speak, when we move in the society, when we do impactful work, it will land. And that's why I always say, whatever leadership challenges we have to turn inwards. We have to turn the focus on ourselves. What it's like when we read the newspaper, we read a lot of news that upsets us, right? Lot of news. Now, if we get angry, upset with every news that we read, then that is what use is that? It's not going to impact anybody, even us, right? But when we read that same bad news and decide, okay, when we read about drought in Africa and we decide, okay, I will not waste any food. That is beautiful. So when we look at something that is causing stress, we try to regulate it internally and keep it limited, then the impact is beautiful. If we don't get a grip on our internal temperature and allow it to swing from anger to low mood to depression, then whatever we do that day will always be less than best. And only when we do our best in every moment of our life can we get the optimum output that we need, especially those who are in the impact area, like you all, right? Everything that you do is like a service to the nation. So when we are doing service to the nation, when we give something, you're giving so much of yourself. When you give something and you end up giving a bad mood or end up giving a harsh word, then that goes against what you really want to do yourself, isn't it? It goes against the unique music that you have in you, right? So all I can say is, yes, we are human, we get affected, but we should try to become aware of our mood and control it and try not to allow that to impact. Going back to Anjana's point, we don't have to try too hard. We don't have to keep the temperature zero. We can try to share a bit. We can try to say, it's been a tough day. We can try, but let's try to limit it so that it's real as well as doable. That's my 2 bit on this aspect. Coming to the aspect of failure, I want to talk about a little bit is everybody faces failure. Everybody. So it is not about just failure in work. It can be a failure in my relationship. It can be a failure in a project that I'm doing. It can be failure in, a dream performance that I wanted to give and I flopped. It is possible. But if we allow that to interfere with our work, then we cannot proceed further, isn't it? And the aspect that I want to touch upon is innovation. From your perspective, you should always try to reinvent a process depending. You have to make your approach, your process, your learning, everything very adaptable, very flexible, isn't it? Only when we make that flexible in a small organization can we make it more durable, right? Otherwise, what will happen? More and more failures, more and more, the path is hindered and the organization may be staring at closing down. We don't want that because this is our life. So whenever we look at failure, we have to tell ourselves, it's okay. As long as I'm going to continue keeping at it. It's like the Wright brothers, right? When they tried to invent how to fly. At that time in US, and this is the 1800s, in US, the government spent millions and millions and millions of dollars putting so many people on the job to find out how to fly, right? Especially, you all know the most famous name is Samuel Langley. They had funding, they had the right people, they had right mindset, they had the brilliant minds of the country, everybody working on cracking this whole aspect of how can we make machines fly. But nobody succeeded. Who succeeded? 2 brothers in a remote corner running a small bicycle shop who did not have funding, who did not have anything except the passion to somehow make it work. And do you think they didn't have failures? Every day they failed. Every day they tried to fly, they failed. And they had to go back, fix the part. And they didn't have intelligent minds helping them. They just had regular street people helping them. So they kept coming back with fresh. Why? Only because they had that passion. Yes, this is my goal. This is my larger purpose. Nothing will interfere it. It's okay if I fail. I'll try again. I'll try again. That attitude is very important. Especially when you run smaller organizations. It is very, very important to say failure is everyday way of life. We are going to face it. Only when we face failure will we succeed, correct? Will we have new innovations? What is an innovation, first of all? I keep talking about innovation. It is not finding a new product or a new process, a new way of doing things. No, innovation is always finding a way to solve a real problem that you have. Always. When you have a real problem, then ask yourself, how am I going to think of something different that's going to solve this problem? So when you have a problem, try to solve for it. Become the solution rather than the problem. So yes, it's a problem that we are not able to retain talent. What do we do? Right? How do we make them see the larger purpose and the passion that we have? So when we have a problem and we solve for it, that is innovation. So we should take failures as the basis of innovation. Only those, if you talk to anybody who has innovated, whether it is Apple or Google or whoever, you can ask them. They have had no success that has not got multiple failures behind them, right? So and we are no different as human beings. On a daily basis, we are going to face that. It's about telling the team, it's okay, but let's try again. Let's try again. Like that child, right, who fell down and is trying to walk. The child keeps trying, try again, keep trying till you get it. And what drives you is your passion, is your music, is your purpose, which you have already identified. All of you are in that space doing phenomenal work. If you can somehow try to find what I can do to get over my current bad mood because of the failure that I've had, then you have solved for it, isn't it? It's better to accept that everybody is going to fail. There is absolutely no showstopper. Nothing is going to stop because of that. We truly fail only when we give up and say, okay, I've tried this 10 times, doesn't work, I give up. Only that giving up to me is a failure. When you have identified that this is my purpose, this is the segment of people I will serve. So I want to connect this point to I think Ashish, right, spoke now. He was talking about a big transformation of culture that he did from that of seva to accountability. My only input, Ashish, is to say that you're not wrong in changing that culture. Perhaps you can reflect on how you did it. It's not about what you do. It's always about how you do it. So if, for example, you can go back to the drawing board, to the team which you have currently and say, this is the job that is expected of you. Then it is easy for us to say, this is what you're supposed to do, rather than defining it very broadly without specifics. So one of the techniques you can try is to give clarity on what is expected. When you give that clarity, then you get output. They are very clear. Okay, this is what I need to do. So right from the word go, it is about how we tell them that the cultural shift is happening from that of service to accountability. Another way to say it, Mr. Ashish, is, did we say from seva to accountability? If we did that, then that's not quite the great message that they want to hear, perhaps. Perhaps they want to hear service with accountability rather than from service to accountability, probably. It's also to say, this way, when each of us become responsible for what we are handling, then we can save so much more time and money for the organization and create better impact. It is like an aeroplane. Even a small screw in the aeroplane has the same value as the big engine, right? Even if the small screw fails, the whole aeroplane crashes. It is about telling them that you may be the small screw, but you need to understand what value the screw adds for us to say, okay, you are accountable for just holding these two parts together. As long as you can do this, I'm more than happy for you to participate in whatever you want to participate. Does that help? And for green flag, red flag that you were speaking about, I think it's okay to say this is green, this is red. It is not okay for us to say green flag, excellent, red flag, not at all good. I think the way to say it also is about red flag, can we do something different? It's about looking at the person who didn't do something and saying, do you need any help to change this red to green? Do you need any help? Do you need any support? Do you think you lack the knowledge? Do you think you lack the skill set? Do you need any training? So, you know, I mean, we're running short of time. I'll probably talk about one classic example, right? Google actually launched Project Aristotle. It's a project they launched for 3 years, just surveying all the performing teams in their organization. 180 teams were performing, high performing teams. Google actually did a detailed survey to find out what is the characteristic of the team that helps them succeed. They could not get any common factor for 2 years. It is only in the final year they identified 2 key things that contributed to high performing teams. One, when both of them, when there is a team meeting, for example, when each of them have a chance to speak. That's as simple as that, the first one. What does that mean? So if there is a meeting, if there is a discussion, then does everybody speak? Or it's only the leader who speaks and the others keep quiet and just do what you say? Where a team has allowed everybody to share their viewpoint and speak, they find that they are more engaging, more contributing, and high performing. That's the first. Second, when they have that emotional connect and empathy with each other, that team. So these are the 2 key things they found. So how do you establish that emotional connect between various team members of yours? You figure it out. You're all established leaders. You know that. The simple thing to follow always is always be what you expect from others. So if you feel somebody has to be delivering a lot, then are you being the right leader to create the right environment for them to deliver? Like I said, it is to ask them, why have you come up with a non-deliverable? Is there something wrong? Are you missing something? Do you need any help? That will work rather than saying, you haven't done well, this is not acceptable, we are a small team, each one has to pull their weight. The minute you do that, it adds to the tension. It adds to the feeling of burden. So they should not feel that coming to work, doing these things is a big burden. They should feel it's a joy. Okay, if I fail, at least I can tell my boss, this is what I'm lacking, this is what I need from you. And then you work together to achieve it. So I'm sorry, I'm rushing through a lot, but it's a very limited window. And I tried my best to present whatever little suggestions and aspects that I can think of. I thank you very much for the time. I can probably take 1 or 2 questions if you have. I don't know whether it resonated. Henry, Ashish, any comments, any questions?
Yeah, actually,
No, I mean, it definitely makes sense. I mean, yeah, I mean, have been doing exactly what you were sharing. Yeah. So thank you.
Hello, I'm Henry.
Hi, Henry.
Bharathi, thank you very much. You are very simple, and your input was very helpful as an individual for me. I try to keep myself as a leader. Thank you, Bharathi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from the wider audience? You can always raise those questions and I can always come back to you through a mail or something like that, if I can't answer it here. Yes, thank you. Need to practice, someone says. Yes, like I said, it's not easy, it's hard work. We have to keep practicing these basic aspects every day if we have to form trusting teams, and that's the core of every successful organization. On that note, I'll hand it back to Ila. Thank you very much for giving me this platform to share my experience. I hope it is, like I said, even if it creates one suggestion, one thought in your mind that could be useful to you, I'll be grateful for this opportunity. Over to you, Ila.
Thank you so much, Bharti. Thank you so much for taking this session. I wouldn't say it feels nice to hear all these stories, but yes, it does give a sense that we are all in the same boat, and all these organizations, they are at various points in their journey as an organization. Some organizations are just 2 years old, some are 10, 20 years old, but yeah, the only constant is the challenge that they face every day. And hearing you giving your suggestions, I do hope that it did give them a chance to think about it, go back and think about it, and sort of implement it in any way they can. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending this session. And we won't be having another session for the rest of this month. So a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. I'll sign off. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much, Bharti.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.